Hi, I'm Bob Whitty with KPND in Sandpoint, Idaho. If I can be a fan of Skylight Books, LA's world-famous independent bookstore, from way up here in the Idaho Panhandle, then you can too, from wherever you are. Visit the website, buy some books. You can even join their membership club and reap the benefits of supporting independent booksellers. Thanks.
Meet me on the softer side. Meet me on the softer side. Softer side of your heart.
Hi there, and welcome to the Skylight Books author reading series. You can find out about this and all of our other author events at www.skylightbooks.com, where you can also browse our inventory as well as order books online. You can also follow us on Twitter or even be our friend at facebook.com. If you'd like to talk to a real person, we can be reached at 323-660-1175. And don't forget, Skylight Books depends on listeners like you to help support us. So whether you're in our neighborhood or browsing online, buy a book or two to help ensure that we'll be around for a long, long time. Thanks and enjoy.
But this evening we have comics, which I'm so excited about because that means that we have fun art that we're going to get to look at. Steve Weissman won the Harvey Kurtzman Award for Best New Talent in 1998 with his acclaimed ongoing series Yikes. He's written and drawn comics for Marvel Entertainment, Nickelodeon Magazine, and Fantagraphics Books. He currently lives in Los Angeles with his wife and their son Charles, who I think will be monitoring the situation here. Ron Regé. Do it right? Okay. Ron Rege's first book, Skibber Bee Bye, was published in 2000, and he's also authored the books Against Pain, The Awake, and The Awake Field. His comics and drawings have appeared in hundreds of zines and anthologies, and he is also an illustrator, which clients include Nike, Sony, Tylenol, McSweeney's, Vice, New York Times, and Canada's National Post. His current project, the Cartoon Utopia, began in early 2008 as a series of 60 small drawings. He's going to be talking about that this evening. And drawings from the Cartoon Utopia have been presented as solo gallery shows in Los Angeles, Montreal, Richmond, Virginia, and Austin, Texas. So please help me welcome our first author this evening, Steven Weissman.
Hello. Thanks for coming out.
You should put it up. It's just because I'm so small.
Oh. That's fine. I mean, it's not that big a crowd. How's it going? So I'm talking about my book today. It's called Barack Hussein Obama, and hopefully you all got a copy. And it's nice to see so many of my relatives and friends here. Thanks. I get to explain what I've been working on for the past couple of years. It's been pretty fun. It was a project that started out kind of as a goof. Just a couple of things I heard and things I've been paying attention to in the world, and I thought it would be pretty funny. One night, my son Charles, who's going to be working the PowerPoint here, we were watching, I think it was actually the Halloween episode of Charlie Brown, the Great Pumpkin episode, when he told us that he had heard Charlie Brown was a Jew. And we were a little confused. We thought it was a really funny thing to say, but we couldn't make out why. And so I asked him what gave him this idea, and he said he'd heard it on the news. And I thought it stuck with me for a couple of days, and I thought that was a really peculiar thing to say, and it was funny, and I would like to use something like that in a comic strip since I make comic strips. But it would be a lot funnier if Barack Hussein Obama said it than if any of the other comic strip characters I had. So I drew the first comic strip that's in the book, which is not this one. What button do I press to just? You can just press buttons, Charles. Yeah, he'll just scan through some of the art, so you're just free to look at it. It doesn't actually correspond with anything that I'm saying. I have a few people have been asking me about this project, mostly why this, why am I working on it, and one of the questions was why use his whole name, Barack Hussein Obama. And I'm a great fan, as I'm sure most of you are, of right-wing radio on the AM. And even before the 2008 election, there was just this constant reference to Barack Hussein Obama as this sort of scary, otherworldly person that was going to try and take over America. And it was funny, the same way that they use his whole name like they do with kind of serial killers, to sort of separate them out from the pack. It's Richard Milhouse Nixon, and Barack Hussein Obama, and it just kind of worked. Or there were the people that, like the kind of stoner kids that would refer to Ronald Wilson Reagan, back in the 80s as like a sort of numerological 666 kind of. Do you remember that? No. Okay. Anyway. So that was, I just thought it was funny the way his opponents were using his name, and I thought it was funny the way his supporters would kind of be sensitive and react to hearing his name. Like, you can't say his whole name, that means you're a racist. So I thought it'd be a great way to get a reaction and get some attention, which of course I crave dearly. So another question people have been asking me is this project, is this book pro-Obama? Is it anti-Obama? He's a protagonist, so I want him to live through the book. So it's pro-Obama in that respect. I mean, my personal, that doesn't even matter. It's not. It's just a book about Obama. It doesn't really get involved in policy decisions, nor is it a political comic like you read in the opinion pages, and which, those are lousy comics anyway. This is actually a good comic, so it's not interested in the minutia of policy. A few people have been asking me about. Was it my intent to avoid being topical with this book? And I thought it was a funny question to get, because I was trying with this project to be as topical as I possibly could with my comics. And so I was working on this on a week-to-week basis for 2 years. And I would ask myself before doing each strip, what's going on in the world that could work its way into my strip, or what's going on failing that in my life that I can utilize for this strip. And there are, there's Gaddafi. We deal with Gaddafi and the death of bin Laden. There's the tsunami in Japan intrudes upon the narrative, as does the Icelandic volcano that maybe some of you remember. Or the Tea Party March on Washington. Wasn't that a good time? So all of that works itself into the book, and it departs from reality a lot. I understand that, and I'm by nature sort of weirdo cartoonist, and that just happens. So anyway, I think you guys should talk to Ron Regé for a couple minutes. And Charles can give Ron the hand.
Thank you. The thingy.
And I've brought. Just for a second. I meant to tell you this. These stories were drawn in 4 books like this, these moleskin sketchbooks, which are just really tremendous things to work in. I've brought the books that I drew the whole of Barack Hussein Obama tonight, so if you want to come by and take a look while we're just hanging out afterwards, I'd be happy to show you these books.
I've done it before, just plug it in.
Any questions?
Did you try it on this one before?
Yeah.
We tried it before and it worked.
All right.
Wait, maybe I have to unplug it from this one.
Sorry, everyone. It's not hard. Yeah. I would be interested. But I feel like
So weird, yeah.
I can put it on his too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to take a little technical moment, but we do have moleskins here in case you want to draw your own. Comic strips this evening.
Hey, if this doesn't work.
That's right. Get 10% off. So just think of this as a little mini intermission between shows.
you got it on Flash.
Yeah.
It's so weird that it.
I know, usually you just plug it in and it just sees it.
Do we enough of an intermission that we can use it? Or is it good?
Oh, we got it. Okay, continue.
This is my lovely background. I don't remember what that is. Hi, I'm Ron. I'm going to be showing you some stuff today from my new book, The Cartoon Utopia, which just came out. I was going to talk about what it was, but now my mind has gone completely blank. So I might just, usually I've been doing readings of for a while. And just reading the comics because it kind of explains itself, and then maybe it's better if people just ask me questions after or something. Pretty much this project I started in 2008. I was pretty disassociated from making comics in general and wasn't associating to the normal stuff like characters or jokes or stories or anything like that. And I just started making a bunch of small drawings and just one at a time, and they were panel sized, and I would start putting words into them, and I started kind of having a lot of philosophical utopian ideas, and it just kind of grew and snowballed, and about 2 years in, I knew that I was making a book, and a lot of what I've done come from other sources besides myself, and a lot of things I've been reading. I think I'm just going to go ahead and read some stuff. Kept in balance by equal weights. Everything in the universe came from one point. Everything inside and outside of you is made of material split apart at this initial moment. Every aspect of every process, from the largest to the smallest, is attempting to be united again. I was also going to say, when I've done these readings before, I always go too fast. And I'm going to try and go slowly, but probably the best thing for you to do would be to look at the pictures and not the words while I'm reading. And I could have done this so that you would just be seeing the picture, but it would have just been too much work. Maybe I should do that in the future, I don't know. Everything strives towards perfect balance. The macrocosm is the microcosm. All is one. Everything is vibration. Everything in the world is made out of sound. That's all there is. Every atom wants to achieve this perfect state. The particles that we are made of have always existed. Therefore, we are projecting the history of the universe onto one another. We are the creation myth. The goal of alchemy is to bring together and destroy the opposites. Light can be slowed down into matter. Change the number, change your tune, turn the dial on the prima materia. Once you know the frequency of something, you can both create and transform it. Apply your consciousness to the ether and give it form. This next story that I'm going to read is called The Hermetic Philosophy in the Fairy Tale of Sleeping Beauty. It was written by Manly P. Hall. Have you ever realized that you are the prince and princess in one? The princess is your own better nature, the spirit of beauty lying asleep in you, hidden away behind the walls of nettles and thorns of conflict. These thorns and briars are the struggles and disappointments and impediments of life. We long for the beautiful and the true, but must always claim it from a heart of sorrow and sadness. Peace will never be found without labor, so go forth with the faith of a true prince into the world, which is filled with aggravating, pricking, tearing, and wounding things. If you go through life with the faith of a fairy prince, you will find that the thorns give way before you, the nettles and briars will part to let you through. There is a reward for those who seek to beautify life and awaken the spirit of harmony lying asleep behind the briars of privation. There is a beauty in all things. If your life has been deprived of it, go forth and claim it. Remember, however, that happiness must always be reached through a forest of thorns, and every spirit must be a hero to attain it. All right, this next section is called The Science of Applied Energy. It is from a book called Thought Forms by Annie Besant and Charles Leadbeater. This whole section stems from ideas, theosophical ideas that have a lot to do with the aura and things like that. But when I was discovering it, I realized that thought forms and the concept of thought balloons in comics are almost exactly the same. So with these kind of fantastical things that people writing about actually existing in your etheric body or the aura are what are in comic books all the time. So this next segment is a part of the book that was kind of trying to bring a bridge between kind of two interests of mine. But here's some things about it. To paint in earth's dull colors the forms clothed in the living light of other worlds is a hard and thankless task. One of the most interesting high roads from the physical plane to the astral is in the study of thought. The difficulty of thought representation is that we are limited to 3 dimensions, and on paper, only 2. We have no conception of that inner world to which thought forms belong. All that we can do is at best to represent a section of the thought form. Whoa. All right. Surrounded by the innumerable combinations of subtle matter, the mental body is an object of great beauty and delicacy. Rapid motion of its particles, giving it an aspect of iridescent light. Every thought gives rise to a set of correlated vibrations. The body throws off an actual vibrating portion of itself. It gathers from the surrounding atmosphere matter like itself in the fineness of the elemental essence of the natural world. It is a matter of great power and energy that may be used as a potent agent when directed with a strong and steady will. Look, strong is spelled bad, wrong. I hope that got fixed. It is well for us to bear in mind that there is a hidden side to life, that each act and word and thought has its consequence in the unseen world that is always close to us. We must know and we must study. There is a vast field open before us if we only enter it and gather its fruit of enlightenment. Let us no longer spend time in the dungeon of ignorance, but come forth into the sunshine of infinite wisdom. Okay, this last section is from a book called The Rainbow Bridge 2, Link with the Soul, written by the two disciples, whoever they are. Is it not possible that the unknown worlds to which we yearn, the ultimate becoming, leads to something like ourselves, yet evolved infinitely beyond our present concepts? We say it is so. Evolution is the movement from multiplicity towards unity. Let us evolve together, for the togetherness of groups and groupings seems to be an evolutionary objective. We propose to relate occult teachings to scientific fact. The urge to betterment is inherent in the driving force of evolution. The universe is constantly growing and expanding, developing and changing. This used to be a mere belief in emotional reaction, but the development of scientific knowledge has changed that. This knowing has changed the course of the development of consciousness. We are fragmented parts of the one source. There is one all-exclusive principle, existence. Scientific thought has always sought and pointed towards this basic unit from which all things are made. All units of attraction and repulsion are set into motion to build all forms, as well as time and space as we know it. There is a law of unification. Whoa. There is a law of unification. We are all on a path of return. All souls are unified in the one soul of humanity. This is present truth. The path of return is a path of conscious awakening. Here we are separate, but the veil grows thin. That's it.
You guys want to sit and talk?
Yeah, I think we're both going to sit down, and I guess you guys can ask questions, and we can both talk or whatever.
Do you guys have any questions?
Are there any questions, or should we just say that's it?
Do you want to stand or sit?
Maybe we can just stand. There's enough people here, right?
Sure.
Should we just do that?
I'll
Yeah,
scoot
put
over
this-
here.
Here, let's put this.
You have a question? Okay.
Steven, have you got any funny reactions?
I've got only funny reactions. Yeah. Just from people wanting to ignore it, based on the title, to people having not necessarily the wrong idea, but a fully formed idea that they think. The most of the funny reactions. You guys can hear that, right?
Yeah, probably.
Does that make sense? Okay, cool.
Do people have negative reactions? They're like, I don't want to see that. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, in comics, most of the negative reactions we get are non-reactions, just people
Yeah, that's
ignoring
true.
your stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would say the majority of my time as a cartoonist has been a negative reaction. So this project, I personally feel like I've gotten more positive feedback than all my people-pleasing comics over the years. So this is one where it's just like...
Me too, and it hasn't even come out. People are like, what? Is it because it's confusing, do you think?
Maybe.
I feel like that was good for us to do this together, because I think both of our books on the surface are a little bit confusing to people.
Yeah.
Which makes them more interesting.
I believe
something?
your comics, this book especially, it's going to be a challenge for people, Ron.
I have a question for Ron.
Yeah.
So part of you reading it aloud and me just looking at the artwork, great, but it was so detailed. I just wanted to stay on the panel as you're
Right, yeah.
moving on. How long did it take you to do each panel? Would it
It's
just
hard.
form in your mind?
No, I did, well, I do the whole book as script first, so I have all the panels done with just the words put in, and I had no idea what any of the pictures would be for, I would have 100, I had 100 pages to do, and I was like, but it would be a new thing, this week I'm going to do this one, and I'm like, what goes with these words? And
So
I
you
would
were
slowly-
decorating the...
Yeah, it was pretty much, yeah, it's like illuminated manuscript. I'm just decorating the words or something.
I'm curious about your craft. I know that symmetry is pretty important to you, I believe, just from looking at your stuff. But also, I always like when I look at Ron's drawings, how perfectly formed everything is. He seems to be able to know how to draw everything in his world, and it looks like he drew it. But you were saying...
You do the same thing?
No, I don't think so. I feel like you can see me learning to draw a pencil or a roll of tape if I have to draw it.
Right.
It looks rough at first, but whenever I see, in Ron's drawings, when he composes a panel and there's a lot of material around, a table, a chair, it all looks perfect. It always existed that way, and it always is drawn by you.
Wow.
But you... But you were saying recently that you were having trouble drawing animals in this.
Yeah,
and I
the
thought that
animals
was-
all the animals in the book look totally crazy to me because they have these human faces, and I can't quite get them to look. And it's the cartoon human.
They look great, though.
They're
but I
they
was
look
curious about
really
this
freaky
process.
to me because maybe it's because I'm trying to make them more realistic or something. But I think as cartoonists we both, because when you say that about your stuff, everything looks like you did it, all the little things. But maybe that's just the craft of.
Maybe someone else
Whoops.
doesn't notice.
Yeah, or someone notices that, and to us, because I look at things and I'm like, the typewriter is terrible. That's not my.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
This is a question that relates to this discussion of the kind of impossible intricacy of the drawings.
Impossible?
They're so intricate. It's true. This book, they're so incredibly intricate, and maybe you would tell the story because I feel.
Are you going to direct me to tell a story? That's good.
Well, it's a question. I feel like the story. It occurs to me that maybe the story might shed light. So I was reading the interview you gave with the.
Oh, yeah.
And about your experience with that. How you're.
Which one?
About the experience where you're.
What is it?
About the lady. When you started to tell the story in the interview about having in Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
And about a shaman
Mm-hmm.
would go into a trance and.
Oh, that's a pretty funny story.
As your soul.
Oh yeah, I don't have my soul animal, just in case anyone ever sometimes people ask you in LA what your soul animal is, and you're supposed to, it's not an abstract question. So I went, and I got asked this interview, when did you become interested in the esoteric? And I had to kind of slowly think about it. But went to Kansas City with Becky, and we met her mom. And the first thing we did when we woke up in the morning, after coming in late the night before, she took us to get soul paintings done by this woman. And I had never done anything like this before. I was like, what? What are we, huh? Soul painting? What am I? Okay. And went, and the woman sat and went into a trance, and then she came out of the trance. She goes, okay, I don't know how to draw this. I mostly just draw animals. Can you hold on a minute? I have to go and ask again. And she had already like sat in a trance while I'm just sitting there in a room with her for like 3 or 4 minutes. And she's like, can I do that over again? And then she went and did it again. And she came back and she goes, okay, your soul animal is a train that's barreling down in the darkness, and it's about to go over a chasm, and that your soul, this is just a picture, your soul assumes that there is a bridge over the chasm, but can't see it in the darkness, and that's what it's about to do. Is it okay if I draw that? And I was like, yeah, and then she made this drawing, and I could see all her other things were like wolves, and it was true when I was like thinking about it. I was like, my soul isn't like a wolf or some like giant buck deer or like things that like I would expect, a snow leopard. Like it wasn't, and that's not what I got. And then she drew it, but in the corner there's a little billy goat that's looking at the train, which is an aspect of my soul. So. And that was that. It was from then. But the main thing that she said that totally inspired this book was she was like, "You have a real inherent understanding of ancient wisdom." And I was like, "What does that even mean?" And that was like 6 or 7 years ago. And now I'm like, "Oh yeah, I totally have. Yeah, I do. Anything ancient wisdom, I look at, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get it." They don't. Anyone else?
That pretty much covered it. Oh, the book's over there.
Oh, yeah, back there, I suppose.
So are there no more questions? Steve, I've got a question.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course I already did, yeah.
You already did what?
I sent a copy to the president.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
I'm waiting here.
You're going to get one of those notes like in 6 months. I was a little bit busy when you sent it, but I was really glad. I wanted to say something to you, but I just couldn't find the time.
I made a point of wishing him a happy Halloween. So,
okay.
I wanted him to read it before the election. Cause, yeah, I mean, and I know you guys are wondering if there's going to be a book 2. So
yeah.
If you want more of these comics, you're going to have to go out and vote. On election day.
No Willard coming.
No, I'm not going to do that one. I think
never say never.
That one's pretty easy. No, I'll never do it. Okay.
All right, thanks everyone.
So what we're going to do is, if you would like to have the gentleman sign your books, we're going to set up a table over here. If you could purchase your books first and then just line up against travel and get your books signed. Thank you so much. Please.
You've been listening to the Skylight Books author reading series. Don't forget that you can check out this and all of our other great podcasts at www.skylightbooks.com. Today's music was provided by Fragile Gang. You can check them out at MySpace, Facebook, and the iTunes Music Store. Thanks for stopping by, and we hope to see you soon.